George Teague, welcome back to T-Town. I hope you're having a great day, man.
Man, it is a wonderful day. I thank you guys for allowing me to be on the show today. I'm excited, and it's a holiday week. So, what more can I ask for?
No doubt. Now, I just got a question. Okay, you were dominant in the defensive secondary. How is George Teague on the grill? Like, what do you do on the grill? I mean, do you dominate the grill also?
I'm an offensive guru on the grill because I go after it.
Okay.
Pretty good. I'm going to put those ribs on there, chicken. I'm still working on my brisket game a little bit, but that's one thing I enjoy, man. Really, in my spare time is getting out and cooking, being on the porch. Something I learned from my dad. It's just, it's relaxing. So the only thing I really try to defend that I get mad at or sneak at when I sneak up on those doggone flies when they start coming around. Then I do take offense to those guys.
I got you. I was just curious about the grill because I think we all try to work on that a little bit and see if we can, impress the wife on those. I mean, she cooks in the kitchen, I cook outside. So
that's right.
George, go ahead.
We'll have us a cook-off. We'll have us a cook-off one of these days.
All right.
That'd be good.
Well, yeah, but I'm not that good at it though. I'm still kind of learning. Every now and then I burn a burger, or a hot dog, or a rib, and I do much better just going out to like Dreamland and just knocking things out like that. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I was reading a special. Now check this out, okay? Dreamland's one of our sponsors here. So you could do this and you could wrap it up like you got it on the grill. 3 slabs of ribs, 2 quarts of sides, 1 loaf of bread, 1 quart of sauce, $82, Dreamland. I mean, you could wrap it up like you did it. You don't have to tell anybody it came from Dreamland.
Well, and I love Dreamland too. So I will say that. I love exactly what they have, but I cannot duplicate that sauce that they have. So I might can get the meat, but that sauce is the bomb, man. I love that Dreamland sauce.
No doubt. Martin Houston and I knock it out at least once a week. He does radio in the mornings here on Tide 100.9. So Martin Houston and I can we can knock out a slab together, my friend.
Together?
Oh no! Listen, we usually have a few bones to spare, man. We Martin has learned how to order at Dreamland. He goes the big ends. I mean, he's learned it over time, and so we'll put a slab down between us, and 2 radio guys cannot knock out a full slab at Dreamland. So I know we're weak.
Yeah. I don't know what up with Martin Houston. Then I mean, before I would say he would attack those pretty good. The way he used to block, go crush people, going through that line. I figured he'd better take out a slab of ribs pretty easy. But I don't know. I'll talk to him about it.
Gotcha. Coach him up a little bit. Hey, George, are you off that darn scooter yet?
I am, actually. Appreciate it. I am now walking. I still can't run yet. So this time when we get on a cruise or whatever, I will be at least walking, if not running by then. So I'm still doing rehab. Just don't have the strength in the calf muscle yet. But back to normal pretty much.
Hey, George, give us an update on what George Teague is doing. I love the Twitter interaction, man. If you don't follow this guy, you need to. It's Teague Football on the Twitter account, 9-year NFL veteran, 1992 national champion, defensive back at the University of Alabama. Give us the latest of what you're doing.
Okay, so I am currently the athletic director and head football coach at John Paul II High School in Plano, Texas. I've been coaching now for 16 years.
Wow.
High school ball and being an athletic director. After I retired from the Dallas Cowboys, I took a year off and went into coaching and landed in the high school level and haven't, looked to go anywhere else or at a different level since then. So it's been good. I did get into the social media world a little bit here not too long ago. My wife talked me into joining it. So I did open up a Twitter account, which has been doing very well, like you said, at Teague Football. And now I just started dibbling dabbling with the YouTube stuff, putting out those videos so people can find me on YouTube as well.
Oh, awesome. How many times do you catch yourself out there on the football field saying things that remind you of Coach Stallings, like things that just it hits you when you say it? You're like, oh, man, that come from my former head coach.
Actually, I do it on purpose. It doesn't even shock me. You're such a mentor to me. There are a few coaches that I try to, really mimic, I guess. and he is one of them. Even Bill Curry a little bit because he's such a motivator. And he was one of the main reasons I went to Alabama as well. So I take some from my high school coach, Charles Lee, and also from some of the college coaches that I have, and just try to all mesh it together and take the things that I liked and that motivated me the most to try to use some of the same sayings or mannerisms to try to get through to these young kids. So I'm very grateful that I was able to play for Coach Stallings because he did teach me a different side of coaching and how to handle men, that are aspiring to be great on the football field. So I am saying thank you a lot to Coach Stallings.
Well, and Coach Stallings feels the same way about you because we have him on every week here in Tuscaloosa, and we talk football year-round, 52 weeks out of the year. He's on every Wednesday for 30 minutes, and we love to pick his brain. And your name and all those 92 guys come up quite often. The one thing that stands out to me, and I even asked Coach Stallings about this last week, and I talked about the team chemistry. I love to see you 92 team, whether it was on that Crimson Tide cruise or just here on campus somehow. You guys are a close-knit fraternity group of individuals, man. I mean, there is authentic brotherhood between the 92 guys. I see it from an outsider.
And there's a lot of things that go into that. I think some of it is just because, the type of guys that we were all pretty personable, I think, and, can relate to a lot of different people, situations, and different things. But I really attribute that to another piece of being in an athletic dorm, where it's just us and you really had to be at home, with your brethren. So I think the atmosphere that Coach Stallings created for us in the dorms, forcing us to interact with everybody, didn't matter what position you played, what color you were, where you were from, made us well-rounded, and I think is, stuck with us over the past 26 years.
George, is there a moment in that season that you guys you realized that this team had a chance to do something special? Was there a moment that you look back and you go, hey, was it fall camp? Was it the middle of the season? Was there a moment that you looked at that team and said, we've got a chance to be a very, very special football team?
There's a few signature moments. One of them I remember is the Mississippi State game, getting out of there and, winning the way that we had to win. It was a very tough football game, but we were able to get out of it. That sticks in my mind heavily, which wasn't too early or too late for that to happen. I always felt like, honestly, if you go back the year before, once we lost, when we got beat very badly by the Gators, there was definitely a different mindset for our team because it was very embarrassing to us. And we all vowed that, hey, this is never, ever going to happen again. Getting beat 35-6, that wasn't good. So those are probably the two biggest moments for me.
All right, George, let me tie it to current times because you said it and I didn't even think about it, but the motivation factor, because this team in Tuscaloosa looks back at what happened in Santa Clara, and I'm sure they're probably looking at it very similar to what you guys looked at it. How can it serve as motivation during this time of the year and leading into camp and the revenge factor? You believe in it?
I do. I think that is probably the biggest piece that most people miss is that once you lose like that or someone puts you, out of your misery in a very bad way, it is definitely a motivation to never let that happen again. And the type of guys that Saban brings in, the fight, the will, the desire to win, it is definitely something they've been talking about and thinking about all off season. So it's not just going to be about Clemson. It's going to be about everybody beforehand that will, I'm going to say maybe feel the wrath of some of this pain. I watch people talk about Duke and we're not going to look past anybody. We're not going to look down the road, but I promise you, in that weight room and all the film sessions, a lot of those mistakes won't happen anymore.
Hey, George, as you look at Alabama's secondary, I think it has a chance to be one of the strengths of their team. You got Xavier McKinney floating around out there, and I think he's really going to take that next step. You begin to look at Patrick Surtain Jr., Jared Maiden, Trayvon Diggs has a chance to come off of an injury, Shaim Carter. I mean, this secondary has a chance to be very special here in Tuscaloosa in 2019.
Yeah, and I think that's been our weakness, personally. Over the past few years, even though we've had I'm sorry, somebody was talking. I think that because we've had so many great guys up front, and the front six, front seven with the linemen and the linebackers, that even though we've had some really good DBs, I don't think we were solid enough. So I think with the depth that we're going to have, the amount of people we're going to have, it's going to really, really make it hard for guys to try to attack us the way that they did in the secondary, because we were always stopping the run before. We're extremely good at that, and then we'd be giving up some big plays every now and again. That's what really would hurt us in the Clemson games, some big plays that we gave up in the air. So if we shore that up, I think they're going to start to look the way, that where people are really going to say, man, how are we going to beat this football team if it's not going to be able to run it or throw it?
All right. Being a defensive back, I want to ask you, when you look at Alabama's wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, John Mechie, who grabbed all of our attention back in the spring, and you got another number 13 throwing to them, how would you attack this offense?
Okay, so you trying to make me get personal here? Or
well, no, I mean I'm looking at all these talented wide receivers. I mean you can't give them double attention, because if you do, one of the other guys is going to get you. I mean, how would you look at this offense, and you kind of look at it going, man, that's some talent on that wide receiver room.
Yeah, that is true, and I think and it doesn't even matter that I'm the defensive back. I still think that people, if they can't stop our run, they're not going to be able to even compete with us. I know we have a lot of weapons out there. So from a technical standpoint, to answer your question about being a defensive back, I would be recruiting me some big, fast, physical secondary guys. If you don't have guys that get hands on these guys and slow them down at the line to be able to knock the timing off the route, we're going to have an advantage. So yes, they got to have big guys up front. They got to have some linebackers that can get downhill and stop the run, but they're going to have 4 or 5, a good nickel package, dime package, where they can have some pressed up corners, and hopefully you can, if they can find someone to cover the slot, good luck on that too. It could be a long day, because you can't let Tua stand back there and just shred you all day long either.
George, I'm curious, from a defensive back perspective, what are you seeing Tua Tagovailoa? I mean, you've went up against the best of the best. What do you see in this young man in Tuscaloosa?
He's calm. He's patient. He has a confidence that is different, right? So a lot of quarterbacks are very confident, but they may be tense and a really big A personality type person. He's not that guy. He's a good leader, obviously, but I think that the way he gets his confidence out to the players and to the community is something different. So people are going to want to play for him. People are going to want to get open. People are going to want to catch the ball, not drop the ball. And it gives him a different dynamic just because of the type of person he is. And maybe that's his heritage, his upbringing. I don't know, but it's just the aura that he brings when he steps on the field, breaks that huddle. It's really, really fun to watch, because you really don't know, what's going to happen, how he's going to spin it. That left-handed throw, I mean, it's awesome, man. It's awesome.
We're talking to George Teague, legendary Alabama Crimson Tide player. George, I didn't know this about you. I didn't know that you were an Air Force brat, man. I didn't know that, but I'm reading it. Hopefully Wikipedia has not sold me out here, but is that true?
No, that is true. I was born in Michigan on an Air Force base and was pretty much on the Air Force base all the way through. Even when I went to Alabama, my dad was still in the Air Force. I was fortunate because we got stationed at Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama, my ninth grade year. And a year after that, he was being called to go to Turkey to Incirlik Air Force Base, and the family decided to go ahead and let me graduate in the States. So, that was kind of the beginning, I guess, of having the opportunity even to play college football here in America. Sounds weird talking like that.
Wow.
But it's true. My brother graduated overseas in Germany. Yeah, I got a big love for military, and I think just growing up like that has really showed me a lot of different things, positive things, because I was able to live overseas and, see a lot of different cultures. Probably actually made me a better player too, just because I had to get out of my comfort zone and play some soccer and some other things. And, I don't know, man. I definitely say that was a bright spot for me. Some people may think that was a hindrance, having to move and find new friends and get on new teams or new systems. But for me, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
All right, so I'm a Dallas Cowboy guy. You and I have something in common. We're no doubt Alabama guys, but I'm Dallas Cowboy guy. I'll never forget the image of you and the American flag. And I don't remember exactly what year that was, but, I mean, that's an image that's ingrained in my head at a very patriotic moment as we get to celebrate July the 4th coming up in a couple of days.
Yeah, that's it was a special time for me too. Just when we were playing, and so I was here with the Cowboys when that happened, when the towers went down, and it was really weird because I remember being in the locker room when all of it happened, and seeing the towers fall, and it was a big impact on the sports world, right? Because now people are saying, okay, who's next? Are they going? Is there going to be some kind of terror thing on stadiums or whatnot? So they canceled all of the football games that Sunday just because we really didn't know what was going on. So that next week, once we came back out, of course, there was a lot of patriotism and talk and people really trying to rally behind each other. And I was lucky enough that, there was a guy standing there. I don't know what they were going to do, but on our way out, to try to take the field, there was a guy with a flag there. They were introducing me last. And, to his surprise, I grabbed it, took it from him, and ran out with it. So it was a proud moment for me just to having the background that I had, but just the state that we're in the country, and to be able to go out there and plant that out in the middle of the field. I mean, it was definitely something I'll never forget.
Oh, 100%. George Teague, final question, and Jordan, a part of our community. I remember the George Teague and Friends, the basketball tournament that you guys were able to give back to PALS, which the Police Athletic League here in Tuscaloosa, and you've been a part of our community. Certainly, we're very prideful of what you mean at this University of Alabama. George, but final question, let me back up just a minute, just for a minute. Being an alumnus of the University of Alabama, and it kind of a continuation of the 70s, the 60s, and all those legendary players. But do you back up a little bit and take a sense of pride? 5 in the last 10 years, Nick Saban has been a national champ. 5 in 10 years, you back up and take a little sense of ownership into that because it's the foundation that players before you and the players that played with you that created this foundation, this tradition that we enjoy every single day in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I think that as former players, and even before me, there are always little steps that things are taking. As the university grows, as more notoriety comes to the campus through athletics. I think that we all feel good about where we were and how we started to build things, especially with the gap in between when we had our national championship to the ones before us. And so then there was another little gap, I would say, before we were, as dominant as we need to be. So, although I think we would say, hey, we kind of started a trend, put some things out there to get people to, hey, we got to be like those guys. Honestly, I got to give a lot of credit just to Malmore and Nick Saban, and just coming in and getting refocused on what got us to be the championships before. And to me, and us sitting with Nick Saban and talking to him about this, it had to get back to the players. For a while there, I don't think it was about that. And when I had an opportunity to sit down with Nick after he took the job, and everything it was about is about, man, how do we get these players to graduate? How do we, help them with their families? What do we have to do with the alumni? How do we welcome you guys back? And that is nothing that we'd ever had before, not to this level. And I think that is carried, because now that does give us even a bigger sense of pride, that even though I played there 25 years ago, I got a coach now that's say, man, come on back. You were part of this. You helped build this thing. Keep helping us build it. So, yeah, I wear my ring proud, my Alabama gear. I got it on now, as a matter of fact, and, because I'm proud of everything that the university stands for.
I think we'll end it with that. George, that was an awesome, fun conversation to be able to reflect on some great times at the University of Alabama. We'll encourage people to connect with you on the YouTube account, on the Twitter account, Teague Football. It's very simple, Teague Football. George, we got to do this again, man. We very, very soon, and we love those championships. Listen, as many championships as they've won here in Tuscaloosa, we do a show sometimes, and we'll say, what's your favorite championship? The 92 team it's not unanimous, but it's consensus for all of us that lived through it, man. We love that year, man. Thank you so much for helping us reflect on that wonderful year here in T-Town.
Man, I appreciate it very much. And anytime you need me, need a comment or whatever, you give me a shout, man. I'd love to be on with you anytime.
Thank you, George. Have a great afternoon. Happy 4th of July. Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye-bye.